Would you move to a neighborhood with a three-story water slide, restaurants, schools, even a hospital, and if I told you it was named the #1 master plan community in America? Sounds crazy, right? Well, it's right here in Summerville, South Carolina. But before you decide this is where you want to live, there are a few things nobody tells me. Hey, I'm Shakima, your Charleston and Summerville relocation specialist, and I'm telling you all of it today, straight, no chaser. So let's go. So let's start with what that award actually means, because Master Plan Community of the Year is not some local Chamber of Commerce plaque. This past February, the National Association of Home Builders held their annual gala at the International Builders Show, the biggest stage in America home building. And out of all communities across the entire country, they handed Carnes Crossroads the gold. And then that same night, this community walked back up and took a second gold, Best Community Amenity in the Nation. Two national titles, one evening, right here off of Highway 176. But here's a teacher moment, and write this down because it applies to every community you'll ever tour. Awards tell you a community peak. The story tells you whether it'll last. So let me give you the story in about 90 seconds. The name is literal. This land sits where Highway 176 crosses 17A, old railroad ground. Timber trains ran through here in the 1800s. In 2006, the Daniel Island Company bought these 2,300 acres. Yes, that Daniel Island, the team behind one of the most celebrated master plans in America. Then 2008 crashed the market, and here's the part I respect. They didn't panic build. They didn't carve it up and sell it to whoever showed up with a checkbook. This land sat quiet about 5 years while they protected the plan. The first homes finished around 2013, and from day one, a third of the land was reserved for the town part. Shops, offices, medical, school, churches, not someday maybe, drawn in before the first slab was poured. Today, it's guided by freehold communities alongside Lennar. It's approved for roughly 4,500 homes, building toward a finished town of well over 10,000 people around 2030. So when you hear #1 community in the nation, don't hear a trophy. Hear 20 years of somebody refusing to rush. That's what you be buying into. Now, let me tell you what it feels like to actually live here. So, forget the amenity list for a minute. Let me walk you through a week in Carnes. Saturday morning starts at the farm, and I mean a real one. Professional farmers, rows in the ground, a farm store selling produce, herbs, and flowers grown a few hundred yards from your kitchen. That's what makes this an Agrihood, the first of its kind in this region. The community is organized around a farm the way older communities were organized around a golf course. And if you're relocating from Chicago or Jersey or anywhere where kids think tomatoes come from a distribution center, hear me on why this matters. When you move somewhere you don't know one single soul, the hardest part isn't the house, it's the belonging. Farmers market Saturday, gardening workshop Wednesday, your kids doing education days with their hands in actual dirt next to their classmates. The farm does the friend making for you. I've watched it happen with my own relocation families. Saturday afternoon, everybody's at the perch, the resort style pool with a 3-story water slide tower. It's August in the low country. Baby, that slide is not a luxury. That's survival. The splash zones are where young family congregates, so your weekend crew is already there waiting on you. Now, Monday morning, here's something that could save you real money. When you're shopping floor plans that have dedicated home offices and it pushes a lot of the buyers in a higher price point tier, and depending on the collection, that jump can run $30,000 to $45,000. So before you pay for an extra room, walk into the lake house on Lake Hewitt. Cafe on one side, real co-working space on the other, sitting right on the water. If you work remote even a few days a week, that building might be your office. The spare bedroom stays a bedroom. You don't need that dedicated office any longer. That's not just an amenity, that would be 40 grand you keep. And threading through all of it, the fitness lounge, pickleball, tennis, basketball, Bumblebee Park, the dog park, stocked lakes with kayaks on them, and miles of trails tying neighborhood to park to water. This place was drawn to be a walked and paddled, not just driven through community. But the soul of it, the Green Barn, built in 1929, originally serving as a horse racing track, if you can believe it. When the developers took over, that barn was the only structure left from the land's farming life. They could have bulldozed it, but instead they moved the whole thing a few hundred yards, restored its timber by timber, and won an agricultural award of its own. Today, people get married in that barn. Farmers markets, concerts, yoga, block parties. When the hospital was prepared to open, they came to the barn to present to residents first. Y'all, if you want to know what a community values, look at what it says. Hey, real quick, if this is the depth you've been hunting for, do me two favors. One, hit that like button because it genuinely helps other families planning this same move find this video. And subscribe because I break down a new Charleston area community every single week. Okay, now let's talk about the homes. I know that's what you have been waiting on. Lennar is the primary builder right now, organized into collections. And if that word's new to you, a collection is just a group of floor plans at a price tier. Here's the lay of the land as of this summer. Building prices move weekly, so treat this as a shape of the market and we will verify everything the week you shop. So let's start with the row collection. This is your entry point. Recently starting around 429,000 for about 2,200 square feet, 4 bedrooms in the walkable heart of the community, porches close to the sidewalk. If you're coming from a market where 430,000 bought a 2 bedroom condo and a parking headed, go ahead and sit down for this part. The Arbor collection, where most of my families with kids land, plans like the Hayden, the Fletcher, and the Graham from about 427,000 into the mid 550s gets you roughly 2,600 to 2,900 square feet. Models are on the Helena Park Drive, and we can walk them together on your schedule, not the builders. Okay, let's talk about the Coastal Collection. This is the move up. They start in the low 500s to about 568,000, and they're up to 3,100 square feet. And compare honestly, out here, that's 5 bedrooms and room to breathe. Downtown Charleston near the peninsula, that same number is a project and a prayer. One thing to know before comparing any builder quotes: Lennar's everything included means appliances, quartz countertops, smart home tech in the base price. Some builders show a prettier sign number, than when you get to the design center, they quietly add 40 grand. We compare what's in the house. That's how you shop with this. Now, Horizons is also in Carnes. This is the gated 55 plus neighborhood inside of the master plan. Cottages, carriages, and legend collections recently pricing roughly between 410,000 to the low 480s. Homes around 1,700 square feet to 2,200 square feet. About 350 home sites are planned within their own exclusive clubhouse and pool on top of everything else. And here's my personal opinion, freely given. If I were relocating my own family and my parents were coming with us, this is the setup. I'd build them in Horizons, us in the Arbor, 5 minutes apart. Same farm, same Saturday market. I've arranged it for families more than once, and watching grandparents and grandbabies share a community changes how everyone grows up and grows old. Now, we can't skip Resale. Before Lennar, the early neighborhoods, St. Thomas Park and St. James Park, were built by names like David Weekley, John Whelan, Ashton Woods, Sable, and Eastwood, going back to 2013. Over the years, this community has sold from the low 300s into the 700s. If new construction timelines don't fit your move date, or you want a street where the trees have had a decade to mature, Resale is a real lane, and we can look at that as well. Now, the conversation I refuse to skip, because I'm not letting you fall in love with the kitchen before we're honest about the map. Carnes Crossroads sits exactly where 176 meets 17A. It's a Summerville address in Berkeley County, right next door to Nexton, about 3 miles to I-26, 4 miles to historic downtown Summerville, right around 20 minutes to downtown Charleston, under 30 minutes to Charleston International Airport. And if your company's flying you back and forth during this relocation, that airport number matters more than you think right now. The honest split: if you work remote or your job lives in the Summerville North Charleston corridor, Volvo out at Camp Hall, the manufacturing logistic employers up 176, Boeing, and the airport area employers down I-26, you're golden. You're sitting in the middle of where this region's paycheck lives, and Berkeley County keeps landing giants. Google's data center operations are in this county. And hear me on this: that matters if you never work at any of them, because jobs are what hold the home's value. You're not just buying a pretty streetscape, you're buying the employment map around it. But if you have to clock in on the peninsula at 8 a.m. 5 days a week, I need you to drive it at 7:15 Tuesday morning before you write an offer. I-26 inbound is real. Plenty of my clients happily trade a real commute for twice the house, but you'll make that trade with your eyes open. That's how we do it. You just have to experience the traffic for yourself. The counterweight: your Thursday night life doesn't touch a highway. The town at Carnes Crossroads in the Uptown District, a 10-acre stretch of restaurants, shops, medical offices, and everyday services, is open and trading right now. Remember that third of the land reserved for a town? A lot of communities promise a town center that stays as a watercolor rendering for 15 years. This one, you can go eat right there tonight. Okay, schools and the hospital. Here's where Carnes Crossroads pulls away from nearly every community I show on this channel. Roper St. Francis Berkeley Hospital sits inside the community footprint, a 90-acre medical campus at 100 Callan Boulevard. And catch this detail: Roper claimed this land here years before most of the homes existed. A major health system read the master plan and bet on it early. When those doors opened, it was Berkeley County's first full service hospital ever, and one of the fastest growing counties in South Carolina. Inside, you have 15 beds with room to extend, a 24-hour emergency department, a mother and baby center. Babies are delivered in this neighborhood. Cardiology, oncology, orthopedics, general and robotic surgery, imaging, primary care, and a medical office building of specialists. If you've got little ones, the ER is 4 minutes away. At 2 a.m., that's a blessing you'll only fully understand the night you need it. If Horizons is your lane, cardiology and orthopedics in the neighborhood is what aging in place actually looks like. And if you work in healthcare, so many of my relocating families do, your next employer might be inside your next neighborhood. Now, as far as schools are concerned, Carol Lewis School, Berkeley County School District K through 8, is right in the community across from the hospital. It opened in August of 2030, and over 900 students walked in on day one. That number is the growth story. And I love who it honors: Carolyn Lewis, the first woman ever on the Berkeley County School Board. 32 years of service, her name on that building means something out here. There's also Northwood Academy. It's a private preschool through 12th grade, walking distance from the original neighborhoods. High school runs through the district. And my non negotiable every client, every time, attendance zones change, especially where growth happens this fast. So before you sign anything, we verify current zoning for the exact address with Berkeley County School District directly, not the builder's flyer, the district. And I can help you with that and help you make that call myself. So, what is all of this going to cost you? Sticker price is 2/3 of this conversation. So, let's build the real number. Let's start with taxes. If you're coming from up north, smile. South Carolina taxes has an owner occupied primary rate at 4% assessment ratio versus 6% for the second homes and investments. And it sits along the lowest effective property tax rates in the country for primary residents. My clients from Jersey, New York, and Illinois, some of them make me run the estimate twice because they just can't believe it. And we'll calculate yours to the dollar. So expect good news. Now, insurance. This is the scary number in every comment section. 540 a year is what you can kind of bank on. That's Insurify's 2026 coastal Charleston average. Now, you're not on the coast, you're inland Berkeley County, so no barrier islands, and new construction built to today's wind code with a brand new roof. So inland, the quotes are below that office average and often a good bit. Typically, the house gets its own quote during due diligence, not after closing. And I have local insurance agents who can help you with that quote and get you connected. All right, no surprises. We got to talk about fees, and I do mean plural. So lean in for this one because this is what sneaks up on people, but it will not sneak up on you. Master plan monthly costs stack in layers. Layer one is the master HOA, which is reported under 100 a month and four standard sections with the two national gold medals worth of amenities. This is honestly remarkable. Next is the Agrihood membership, which is billed separately, and that's your farm. Then there is the possibility of a special district assessment depending on the section. That is common financing in big master plans. It's part of your tax bill and we'll look for it. Now, Horizons carries its own HOA, which at this time is in the 350 to 460 range because that section provides more service like lawn care and community specific activities, which is normal for active adult communities. So budget from day one for that fee. Now, these are reported figures because before you go under contract, we pull the actual current fee schedule and HOA documents for your exact section in writing. No surprises at closing ever. That is my job. So, who fits in Carnes Crossroads and who doesn't? This is the most important thing I'm going to tell you, whether it's a fit for you. You're relocating with kids and you want the 430 to 570 range with the infrastructure already open, schools, hospitals delivering babies, farm growing, restaurant serving, not promised open. That's for you. If you are a move up buyer who's done the math on what the same budget buys near the peninsula, 1,400 square feet and a renovation timeline, and you'd rather have 5 bedrooms and a water slide, Carnes is for you. If you're 55 plus and Horizons is calling, especially if the grandbabies will be 5 minutes away inside the same community, Carnes is your girl. Or you're the buyer who heard that 20-year story at the top and thought, I want on a plan, not a gamble. I need a good investment. You fit in here too. And now the part the builder's brochure will never tell you, because if I only give you the good parts, I'm working for them, not you. Skip Carnes Crossroads if your heart needs 100-year-old live oaks and streets that were finished before you were born. This community is still building towards that roughly 2030 finish line. 4,500 homes means construction trucks, phases going vertical, dust some days for a while yet. The upside of buying mid-story is riding the appreciation as it completes. Ask anybody who bought in St. Thomas Park in 2030. The trade is living through some of the building. Neither answer is wrong, but getting it wrong about yourself is the number one regret I see in master plan communities. And it's completely avoidable if we're honest up front. And also, you need to know this going in. If life moves you again within the next first few years, you'll be selling nearly new while the builder down the street's selling brand new with incentives. Not a deal breaker, a reason to buy smart. Right section, right lot, right floor plans. That's what you and I can work out before you ever walk into a sales office. Because the sweet agent in the model home is wonderful, but she works for the builder. You need someone at that table who works for you. All right, so let's land this plane. The biggest surprise out here, the Lake House co-working space, a $40,000 amenity disguised as a coffee shop, and no one talks about it. The biggest downside, you're buying into a community that won't fully finish until around 2030. Beautiful ending, unfinished middle. And my honest bottom line, Carnes Crossroads earned those 2 gold medals. If you need finished, mature trees, settled streets, zero trucks, keep looking, and I'll happily help you look. But if you're relocating with kids, moving up, or setting the whole family up across horizons and the main community, this one belongs at the top of your list. If you're weighing this against other Charleston area options, watch my Mount Pleasant priced out video next, right there on the screen. And I'll show you exactly where Carnes Crossroads lands in that lineup. And when you're ready to start researching and start moving, relocation.thechatmangroup.sc is where you need to go. This is my free location guide, and it's also where you can book a free strategy call. You and me talking through your move just like this. Or just call or text me at 843-532-0330. And yes, I actually answer my phone. I'm Shakima with the Chatman Realty team, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.